Okay, here we are with the white pieces. D4, knight F3, E3, and we see immediately C5. Let's go here and see how he reacts. Goes with the knight. I think the bishop now. Right there. Yeah, bishop here, there is knight there. It does feel like this b5 move is kind of, you know, we're gonna have to take there eventually. Let's go a3. Yeah, he does play that. Again, this c4 move looks like it's gonna happen. I'm kind of interested in this one. We might end up taking here anyway, but I don't know, I might start with this. Seems like a good reaction. We can take, but man, it really doesn't feel good to have that bishop just come out like that. It does not. So I think I will play our a4 move, which I've been usually playing against this, so that if the pawn goes up, we could try bishop d3. And now c4, I'm hoping, makes a little bit less sense. Trying to keep everything defended here. It's not easy. So if we go like that, queen b6 is most definitely going to be the reply. Like, yeah, basically guaranteed. One reason I might be okay with knight f3 there is I think we have knight d7. So let's try it. Can definitely expect queen there. And knight e4, knight d7 is I want to say it's a relatively common type of blunder. But he might just play rook d8. That would be a perfectly fine move. Rook d8, rook c8. We're guarding this, but we're doing something we don't like to do, which is allow the knight into e4 later. So he takes, and that's because he wants to put the knight in there. That much we can understand. The question is, do we want to take here, or do we want to take with the knight? Regardless, the knight is ending up on e4, so the question is, do we want these knights on or off the board in that case? I think we actually want this. And then queen e2 after knight there. Okay, now that one surprises me, but at least we can see what he's up to. He wants to use the pin here. I think we just defend things though. Right, we can defend like this. Alternatively, this might be sufficient. Bishop h7, but I just want to make sure after bishop h7 that we're okay. Seems like it should work. Like, he might be able to take a pawn there, but it won't matter because I'm expecting that we just made him. Here, for example, I'm just going to continue with the same move. And I mean, we obviously don't care about knight there, and I'm trying not to care about knight e5. I'm also hitting f7 here. But yeah, there's a few funny moves that he can play, like this one. Overall, I feel that they can't be trusted. Like, do we go here? It's really hard to tell. There's a lot of stuff that's about to be hanging. I just don't know if it's going to be good for us at the end of it all. Who knows? Concerned about knight f2 in general, but let's wait and see. Yep. Well, I think we got to take some stuff here. I think we're just going to hand over that bishop. We do this. I guess we take this. Queen h4 and bishop d4 is an idea. We're definitely doing a good job here. Okay, now what? That's not great. We need h3, you know, all these type of useful moves. Our c2 pawn is loose, but maybe we have bishop h6 as a move. I definitely want h3 in the position. Okay, he does take it, but I'm not so sure about that. He was, you know, kind of counting on that tactic, but there are bigger problems here. Nice move. Surely he's not going to take it. I think a check pre-move is usually the way to go. And Moazi with a nice game there, but unfortunately we were always ahead at the, you know, in those final moments, even though Queen C2, Queen G2 is the right defensive move. Yeah, we probably had something a bit more here. White should be close to winning, but this is why I said when I did it, I was like, Feels to me like Queen E1 is the smarter move here. Bishop H7, I think, wins. I think it's the more correct move, but Queen E1 doesn't allow this or this, and it basically makes all the same good threats. So I preferred this, but you know, it's hard not to play this move when it's in front of you. Yeah, we finally got the snorkel going in that one. So all it is, you know, when I see that B5 move, I do like to play A4. This is what I've been doing nonstop, is I want to encourage them to play B4 if I can. And we should have done it right away before the bishop went there, so that's my own fault, but for some reason I thought that knight e5 would get him to take, and it didn't. So you just want to go here so that, for example, if c4, you're threatening to take. Like, this is a problem. So we do it before the bishop gets to b7. All right, d4, and maybe we're gonna get a chance to play our setup. I don't know what that move is. h4, very, very unusual move. Okay, I think we'll do a little bit of the same here. Okay, g4. So obviously we've got this, but he's looking like a guy that's kind of happy to move out of the way. We can also go here. There's no queen h5, so that has me feeling confident here. Also, should we take? There's knight takes b6, so I think probably not. Interesting. I definitely don't think this is good. I think we win a pawn here, and g5 we can play f5, or I mean, we don't need to do anything, but yeah, winning this pawn should be very significant. Just give a check. Something's got to give here. This check does not feel very important. E3 is going to be bothersome. He goes here, queen f5, bishop g4. Might be maybe that's what you fall into. I'm definitely looking at this. Queen d2, king f1. Just trying to hope and assume that there might be some wins there. I don't know. Rook d3 doesn't, you know, it's a little bit too much, I feel. Let's just go here. play a move that's just good for the position. Might not be good for the attack, but it's good for the position. King b8 is a move I'm actually very interested in playing. It means my king will be safe later. And it gets out of this check, so I'm a big fan of that. Okay, what can we do now? Maybe a5 for bishop a6. Also putting pressure on this f2 pawn, and if he ever moves the king, it feels like e3 is always quite good. Queen d6 to capture. Looks pretty nice. Okay, so at this point, taking definitely looks like the play. He's gonna take here, which means we just need to have some checkmate sequence ready. I'm actually kind of interested in this. I feel like we are threatening to take and go queen d1. Yeah, this looks very strong here. And there should be some mate here. Looks like mate in a couple moves, maybe. This one looks like it should be maybe a force mate. We'll take a forced mate. Although I think a number of things were probably effective there. GG. We caught a glimpse, I think, of our system in here. H4 was a bit of an odd move. And okay, we both kind of went for the same idea. I think his bad move was rook g1. Other than that, he played pretty well in the opening. And then a5, I think, was a particularly nice idea. That pretty much won the game for us because it was hard to break through here without sacking. So I think this was correct. Okay, banana onana. D4. We go like this. We go like this. I mean, yeah, we can play this first. It doesn't really matter, I think. B5. A little bit weird. And put our knight in. Bring our pawn up behind it. Okay, I mean, I guess he's attacking over there. Doesn't look that dangerous. A4. Wonder what the best way, because I guess he's playing a3, so the bishop's not on that diagonal, but is that really going to stop our all-in nonsense attack? Let's say that it doesn't. Because, I mean, what's the bishop really doing on this diagonal anyway? I don't know. Okay, our all-in approach here. Let's see how well this works. G6 certainly makes sense. Let's bring this pawn into the fray. Like, I'm at the point where I don't even care about stuff like that. He's giving up the bishop. I feel like that's not the move. I mean, he's taking this pawn here, but I personally do not think that's worth it. E4 perhaps? Looks like an E4 angle. Okay. This is going to be a fun position. Where do we want to put our queen? Here. Queen c3 I feel like looks okay. Definitely with the knight here because I want to be able to move my bishop next. So yeah, we have missing a lot of pawns, but look, every single one of his pawns is on light squares. We have that dark square bishop, so I'm holding out some hope here. I mean, bishop h6 is pretty nasty, but honestly, I think even nastier than that is queen f6 in order to threaten bishop h6. And also bishop d4. Because I think bishop h6, like, he doesn't even deserve to be able to stop that threat. These two look very difficult to meet, mainly bishop h6. I don't really see an answer to that. He can go rook a1, but that's about it. Maybe after rook a1, we go here and let him take and try queen a1. You know, it's online chess, so there's always hold out hope. Bishop h6, not really seeing any defense to that. I guess he's gonna throw in like a check and we just move to the side. So we're able to win the game in the end. Well, bishop h6, queen f6 is too much to handle. It was always going to be an interesting game after knight takes e5 because I think it's subjectively good, but this is not easy to defend. Dark squares look really bad here, honestly. But we definitely got an attack going. Again, they're always going to be a little bit worse without the light square bishop on the board. But we made something happen here. I don't know if it was the right something, but it was something. Okay. D4. Knight f3, e3. More of the same. Can go there, but I don't think we need to right now. Let's try this. So we have two things to put up with. Basically, we can't really stop this. I remember playing this and dealing with knight b4, which we definitely found annoying. So I guess we'll play here, but yeah, it's quite tough to prevent e5 otherwise. Gotta go here. Can't let e5 happen. You guys know. You guys know. It's prevent e5 at all costs. Now, this, I've said a few times, is usually what you want to do here. In this particular case, we're not castled, which is incredibly annoying. If we were castled, all would be good. So, does this still work? I mean, the answer has to be yes. It'll require... I'm not sure what it will require. I think it works, but it's going to be a slightly different conclusion to the line than usual. But honestly, you might just play king f8, you know? Why get into the weeds there if you're him? I agree with that move in general. So now if we bring the bishop back, we lose this knight. I don't think that's an option for us. I think we need to stay aggressive. Next move, bishop back to d3. Bishop's doing nothing here anymore. I want it out of the way, so we're threatening things like queen h8, for example. Yeah, you could think of this opening like the stone wall, but a bit more solid. Like, it's more fundamentally solid than the stone wall, that's for sure. He goes here, which means, obviously, doesn't take a genius to threaten checkmate in one. Okay, so we have queen h8, queen takes g7. We'll have to deal with that. We also have, of course, knight f3, but you can see that he wants to play bishop to h6. So what do I prefer? I kind of prefer the knight f3 line, if I'm being honest. It looks riskier, but I mean more loose. But more loose is more fun. Yes, g4. And if bishop f4, then we can do it. And then we have our knight in play a little bit. I feel like this move is always there, but you just kind of ignore it, play king f1. Take here. If the king moves, we have queen takes there. But otherwise, we're threatening this, which should be game over. Do we want to play this? I actually don't think we do. I think we just want to take. Don't think taking there was the right move, and he's running the king away. How do we catch him? Maybe this? Running the h-pawn is also a very, very strong idea here. How is this move? Looks like the right one. We have the classic takes, bishop a6 checkmate kind of idea. There is knight c4 against that, so probably this one, and knight c6 would be nice, of course. Nice little mate there. GG. This was nice because this is a tactic that I've mentioned a few times in this series so far. It's very common. You put the knight here. When they move the rook, they always try to get rid of your knight with knight d7, and they walk into this tactic. And I think what we would have done, I think I may have tried this. That was my plan. Normally you can win a rook here because often the queen's on c7 or something. So it's pretty nice. Knight f7 first also works because then you win the rook. But anyway, minimum it's a draw. So you already know it has to be a pretty good try. Minimum it's a draw. You'll probably even do better than that. Pawn pony. At least we got d4. We'll go for this. Knight f6. Okay. f3. Now, you don't see this too often. My usual reaction is that if we see f3, that c5 is just correct. I feel like you're just always supposed to play that. Could take either way, but with the pawn looks right. Queen here. Might get h3 out of him. And I think, I don't really mind. Okay. g3 definitely has me thinking about this one, of course. I think we can play this. It's definitely kind of what he wants because now he wants to play e4, but no, I think we're gonna be good here. Let's play this. Take him away from the e4 square. Wow, it goes all the way back. I'm basically getting every piece developed with tempo here. We can take, there's knight takes c4, but then maybe there's rook takes e2. How does this work? There's also knight e4, but man, I have a hard time believing that this works. I don't know. I think we might lose some material here, but I feel like I have to take this. Okay, well that definitely works out for us. This one also looks pretty good. I think we can take, we can also take here, but king h1 would be a good reply. Let's take that with check. And this should be GG here. No. Guess we can just end it instead of winning the queen. Yeah, not much in that one. At some point, he just was reacting to every move we did, like a6, b5, c4, b4, bishop h3, rook e8. You see how many tempi that is in a row? What the hell? All I can say is that f3 to play e4, you need to attack this pawn. That always feels good, so c5 makes a lot of sense. It's the same principle as, don't know, for example, if you play like this opening, you play c3, everyone attacks your e-pawn, like d5 or knight f6. When you play a move that takes a normal square from a knight, then attacking the center pawn that the knight would have defended is usually the right thing to do. Almost always. Well, we're playing Topalov, but he's played e5, so let's see how this works for him. In general, we know that e5 is one of those things that I advise people not to do against me. Careful, careful. d6, but obviously this should be in our favor here. Now that we've defended this, I start to look at this move, but queen c4 means it won't get trapped. So then I think with this one, we just go ahead and take and knight e4 stuff maybe. And it just feels like we're going to be up a pawn. Nothing to see here, you know? Bishop f4. No, he just goes queen there. This just looks like a really, really easy game. That does not look like a very good move. Opening the center. Bishop f5, bishop e5 seems most likely it wins. The c2 pawn can't be that important. I just bring the rook to the middle, I guess. Not really going to think too much about that one. Makes sense. Has to be a good move. We have like bishop d6 check, which looks tough to me. Knight d6 as well. I mean, yeah, bishop d6 is almost the end of the game. There really should be a nice move after king d8, but I'm not seeing the complete crush. It definitely deserves to be here. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. What can I say? It should be crushing, and I don't see it, so I'm just gonna play a move. Maybe f4, f5 after bishop g6. It's crazy, right? Where's that damn win? Like, there's so many discovered checks, but the king always has one square to go to. If we trade this knight, then bishop f8 will win the game. At least win some big material. So that's an option. Yeah, I'm trying to just remove this knight. And then I feel like we have... Okay, well that's nothing that we can be afraid of. We have this one. Can't go for a trade just to keep things simple. That. We can go for this trade though. GG. Up to 2050. Okay, slowly we're getting there, slowly but surely, using the Zukertort. Now, I've warned people, don't be playing e5 against me. They continue to. Bad things are gonna happen. I mean, this game is just super easy. It's not a contest. I know the game actually went many moves, but it was kind of lost after like maybe 5-6 moves there. Okay, we can play e3 here and maintain our pawn. I'm gonna go like this, get castled. Of course, our bishop wants to go to b2. Okay, he's really in the tank after that one. Okay, we have our system pretty nicely here. Okay, nothing to see here. Just the standard fare for this opening, I would say. If rook e1, then maybe bishop takes was available. We can go here. I guess it's going to be g6 after that. Here, maybe knight takes. So we can't take it back that way. Why does it look so good? And yet, where are the good moves here? Let's go this way. Do we have enough time for this? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say the attack is dangerous enough. Goes like that. What do we do? This? Got to take this back with something else. Bishop, I guess. Rather than the pawn, which looks kind of incorrect. We could take with a rook. It's a little bit funky. Probably too funky. Yeah, bishop takes. This is one of those positions that looks very, very suspicious. Okay. Feels like it shouldn't work, but yet we're still here. My queenside's gonna fall apart here in about a move. Can feel it. Now there's bishop e6, but I don't know if that's the main reason we played this here. Yeah, probably this is still the right idea. Some kind of bishop takes will work. Okay, that's a bit too much. This looks like an attack that once the rook's joined on the two open files here would crash through. Should be able to make this work. GG. I mean, the attack was really crashing through there. I thought that was fairly well executed. Takes f5 and then making sure not to take this way because, look, I think white still has an advantage here, but clearly things are locking down a little bit. So reroute all of our pieces. And yeah, that was it. GG. The Zukertort's growing on you, as it should. Right, we're up against floating pawns. Knight f3 knight f3 e3's the normal follow-up. Bishop out here. Let's see what the bishop is doing. Queen b6. I think this is a bishop e2 one because I want to be able to move the knight. But when the knight comes here, there will be enough pressure. So let's go here. Feels like a3 might still be important. Let's castle. And yeah, I don't know that we have enough time to do this. Maybe we do, but only just. Let's try this. Thinking that if he takes, we have queen b5 check, so kind of expecting him to castle. And yeah, we don't have time for this, I think, because of knight to b4. We don't have time for this because the pawn is hanging, so my hands are tied. I have to play knight f3. Knight e4, knight d7 is our classic blunder that we're waiting for. There we go. Smart move. He defends it, and there's going to be pressure on this pawn because we usually have a bishop there, and there's nothing we can really do about this. So we're very slow with our attack or anything of the sort, which means, what do we need? I almost need to play rook c1. That's how rough it is. What can we invent here? Maybe c4 is possible. I guess knight g5 as well. So we do get to just win material there. Played g6 really quickly, unfortunately. Our main goal was to attack that pawn and hopefully win it. Yeah, we gotta trade, I think, because our pawn is loose here. Guard that. Rook e1 surely needs to be the next move. Knight takes, king g2 looks like it can work for us, so I think the knight has to retreat there. King g2. Maybe c4 looks good. Yeah, I like c4. Completely missing the obvious there. Sometimes you just don't expect someone to be so bad. Ooh. Okay. We got c6 coming. GG. Yeah, queen c6 was just a hanging queen, but starting to play players who are much quicker. Like, you know, 2000 is going to be very quick. They're definitely going to be full blunders though, so I have to start reminding myself that we're going to see some quick moves that don't make sense. Usually if I see a quick move like snap in a time scramble, I'm like, okay, yep, that's the move we expected. Queen c6 was definitely a funny one. Hey, look, I mean, we're dealing with a pin here. Not so easy to get that knight into the middle. And I think he did a good job. I mean, really, if he just covered this pawn like knight d8 or something, I think he would be just fine. We'd probably play rook c1. You can see how much better our system is with a bishop on d3. If it covers that pawn, opponents just don't have anything to do. Okay. Well, I definitely like seeing d4 because get to play our opening a little bit here with the black pieces as well. I am going to play bishop d6 after this. Okay. This move, eh? Going to be a lot of trades here, and I don't think there's anything we can really do about it. Okay, well, he's going to trade this way, which somehow I think is actually not that bad. Here, takes. There's bishop f4. Even if we lose this pawn, we're going to be fine here, so I'm not terribly concerned. Bishop to d4 looks very good. Unfortunately, we drop a rook by exchange here, but I think it's still probably in black's favor if I had to guess here. I wish we could take like that, but no, it'll be with the pawn. f5. Yeah, I think black's probably still doing well here. Let's see, do we want to push? I think so. Get this going. We could go here to try to go for that, or keep the bishop there to defend the pawn. I think probably keeping the bishop here. Push this pawn up. And look at this bishop. It's controlling some useful squares here. C3 next. We have 2 pawns and the bishop. I mean, we were basically just up 2 pawns and completely winning. So even after letting some of the material go, we're definitely still doing well. F4 doesn't look like a good move. Now we have 2 clean protected pass pawns. Put this bishop over here. Well, that wasn't very smart. GG. Fortunately, our position was good enough after the, like, it was so good already that even a careless C5 move meant we were still doing very well. I think C5 is almost like a top 5 move in the position because we're still up the 2 pawns and we still have the 2 bishops. And we sort of got our setup here. He played very fast. I didn't really understand most of his moves. E4, I thought he was just going to take and play like this. And, you know, there wouldn't be much we could do about something like this happening. But very, very even here. Nothing to be concerned about. Okay, and I don't think we have enough here. Even with a win to go over 2100, they want us to get the white pieces, I can tell. Okay, we have our setup here, feeling pretty good, and E4 is not possible. I think he wants to play it with one of these 2 moves, so naturally we're just going to prevent it with our moves. Bishop here, maybe knight f6. I definitely feel that king h8 should be played here, but I mean, honestly, g5, g4, maybe we can just send it. h3 is there as a hook for us to attack, so okay, already there's at least a pawn for us to win, which means there's probably more than that. g4 looks good. Yeah, I like g4 a lot because then we could take on h2, and that would be basically over there. So yeah, we could have won a pawn already, but I think we can do a lot better than a pawn. This is a dream Zukertort with the black pieces here. And now, yeah, this game is over. Just gonna vacuum all his pieces off the board. Okay. Now the question is, how to perform our checkmate. A lot of options here. Often in these spots, people just resign. Like as soon as you spend like 20 seconds thinking about the mate, they realize they're completely cooked and they just like resign. They're like, okay, I don't need to be here, man. Yeah, I don't really know what the best continuation is. There's always a nice rook f6 move, which feels pretty good. So I might just do that. And I think that's gonna be it. G5 knight takes. Otherwise, there's no stopping rook h6. And we also have knight to f3 now, which is an extra idea. And even e4 doesn't stop checkmate. Even queen f5 doesn't stop mate. Nothing stops it. He's really thinking here. Thanks for the 4 years, Woolly Ewok. Appreciate it, man. 4 years with Prime from Woolly Ewok. Don't know why it says 48 and it should be 49. Maybe they're allowing you to resub twice, you know, double the shoutouts. $2,099. I told you it wasn't good enough. Even though we did get the full Zukertort with black here, this was a great example of that opening. They wanted us to have the white pieces. They wanted us to have the white pieces, surely, so let's go get them. Okay. D4. Going for this, we can only expect D6. Obviously, it does happen. And that means that we are going for this setup, right? A little bit different. Okay. F3 is always an option here. D5, Queen E7 in order to defend the pawn will happen. I think I will give that a go. Queen E7, B4, just to keep the knight out. I'm hoping that he gets in a position where, oh, okay, he plays C6, never mind. I'm not sure that we can actually take this. Seems a bit suspicious. Yeah, this looks like one we need to capture on C6 here. Don't see a good way we can take on E4 at the moment. D file looks important. Let's get there. Knight to b3. Trying to play knight d4 here. Black's knight looks pretty good on e5. We're also making a threat, so lots of threats now. Probably he has to just save the bishop. He doesn't. I think we take here. Take on a4 with the queen, or take on e4 with a knight. Definitely think this is correct. This one's gonna happen guaranteed. And while we do have this, I actually think knight b5 might be more clever for knight d6 at the end. D3. Okay, that makes sense. A little bit. Is there knight a7? I think there is, because no matter what, I'm attacking the queen afterwards, which is kind of funny. Kind of funny. And knight takes c6 threatens to win the whole entire rook, not just the exchange. So you actually have to move the rook on c6 here. Rook takes c4 makes the most sense to me. I don't think there's a counterattack that I'm missing, because this is a lot. I don't think you can lose that rook. Maybe queen e4. Yeah, he does play that move. I think this makes sense. Knight e4, definitely. Not quite. It's nice that moves like that don't have anything bad happening after. Okay, let's take. Can go here. This is the risky move, but maybe we play this and he takes. I could see that. Just because it almost looked like back rank made, but not quite. Let's play it safe. Now that the pieces are all on light squares, I think the next moves come pretty easily. GG, and we do finally become 2100 in the Zukertort series, the Colle Zukertort speedrun. Another case closed by Zukertort Law. Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of the Colle Zukertort speedrun. It's definitely one of the easiest attacking weapons to learn in chess, so I hope that this series is making it easier to understand. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next episode.